Hello, good afternoon. I am here today with Denise Oster, and I am going to be really diving into some conversation with her today. But before we do, I would love it if you could introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do.
I'd love it. Thanks for having me, Hanna. I am Denise Oster. I have been coaching business and strategies, lifestyle coaching for over 20 years. Helping and empowering women has been my latest gig since 2020 when I released my best-selling book, Inhale Abundance, Exhale Bullshit. I'm also an author and a speaker due to that endeavor, and also a real estate agent and an investor.
In this journey of entrepreneurship, what is one thing that you think has been one of the hardest steps to take, especially since the pandemic hit?
For me, there's so many things that I had to look into my own internal truths about. And the hardest one for me was getting over the fearlessly independent and asking for help. I really struggled with that. You feel like, the masculinity kicks in and you think you can do everything for yourself, but it really does take a team if you want to be a successful entrepreneur and to really collaborate and, get into joint ventures and understand other people's business, because there really isn't any competition. You're unique to yourself. You differentiate yourself with the uniqueness and your energy and the personality that you bring to any platform or business. And really getting over that hurdle to say, I can't do this alone. I need to ask for help, and really understanding how to do that. And it really was a lot easier than I thought once I got over my own fears and insecurities and imposter syndrome to really take that leap forward. And it's helped not only myself personally, but professionally. It's changed the direction of my business.
How did you overcome some of those obstacles in the sense of imposter syndrome, and just really, how were you able to teach yourself to ask for help? What were some of those steps for you?
Well, when you continuously see repeated behaviors that you fall into a trap, and you notice that nothing's going to change if nothing changes, then all of a sudden, you can put yourself in a situation where you're stuck or you're holding back. And when you can't make that move forward, you're either overthinking or overacting. And if it's the overacting, you're overacting in something that isn't working for you. So you have to take a step back and go inward. Everything begins and starts with us. And that was a hard thing to overcome too, because we always think that it's either someone else or something else. But it's always something outside our external being that we think that we can either control or, take control of. And it's not. It really starts from within. Success is an internal game. And until I had to have a come to bejesus with my own self and say, hey, look inward. Where are some of your triggers? Where are you not staying in your lane? Imposter syndrome, still to this day, as a successful business person, I'm here to tell you, I still fight it, and I have to take a step back. My imperfections, overcoming some of that and realizing, what? I've worked way too hard on myself to get to the root of some of my issues that I really deserve all the work that I've put in, and I am worthy. That's a really hard realization to come to, but you can only get to that point if you do the internal work. And that internal work looks at, some of the things that maybe you disqualified yourself for early on in life. And some of those for me were saying that I wasn't good enough and I didn't fit in, and that I was wearing this mask to try to be someone that I wasn't. And, you have to rip all that off. You have to just come real clean, real raw, and say, you know what? I'm not perfect, but I am the gift that God gave me. And that is who I'm just going to show up with and be, and to stay in your lane and really know what is your purpose and what is your why. And for me, to the root of all that, my purpose and my why is not only love, because I love deeply, but it was to serve and help others. And in order for me to do that, I had to serve and help myself, because I always thought that I had self-love, but it really wasn't self-love. I was actually beating myself up.
Mm.
Literally living in my own pain, projecting that onto other people, which, was not my fault. I had to basically understand my own limited beliefs, forgive myself, and then be able to take a look at that and see how that implemented, or the things that I implemented in my own life, how it hurt me, and also how it contributed to the success. So by differentiating that, because, other people's comments and other people's words as a younger person were very hurtful, and I took it personally. And now the way I look at it is, if I'm doing my internal work and I'm staying true to my own self and being really honest when I do mess up, it's and facing my fears and saying, that's really scary. I'm scared as shit to take that leap or to do that, is the stepping stones that allow you to build the confidence that builds the self-worth and allows you to take higher risks, knowing that it's okay to fail, because you will either learn or you will grow. So it all starts within, because if you understand that and you can realize that and feel that, that you will align yourself with the right support that's going to have your back and to get you where you want to go.
Okay. So in the sense of, we just went through this pandemic, we're still going through it. And I personally watched successful women in business lose their business, lose their marriages, lose their self-worth. And, some people consider us still in that pandemic mode. We're still doing interviews, via Zoom. We're still living in this virtual world. And as a woman business owner, what do you find has helped you to maintain through the pandemic, the virtual world? What are some of the tips that you could share today, or inspiration even on some of the ways that you have stayed above that noise that has happened? And how can we help other women do that?
Well, one of them is what we just talked about. The first thing is it's not my business to care about what other people think of me. It's my business to stay in my lane and to really focus on the things that I can control, because I will never find peace in my own life controlling the things that I cannot control. So that was the biggest piece to help me continue to move forward. And also looking at things. If something isn't working, it starts with us. No one else.
Yeah.
If it's not working, we go within and we have to sit with it. And if we don't get the answers right away, we have to just sit with it longer and go deeper, and to take that time to say, it's not working. Where am I, missing the boat? Where am I struggling? Where am I getting stuck? Because stuck is just a choice.
Agreed. So moving forward for you, Denise, what are some of the things that when you get a client who approaches you and they say, hey, I want you to coach me, walk me through kind of what that process looks like.
That's a really good question. Oh my goodness. I don't take everyone. And the reason being is because through all this work of having to do my own internal work to become successful, I realized and discovered a lot of my gifts that I ignored for a long, long time. And as we know that when we go in, we find bits and pieces of ourselves that we absolutely love and we absolutely hate. And we have to come to a self-acceptance of that, right? And when you do come to the self-acceptance of it, and you find that you can have a lot more self-awareness, you can become a lot more self-resilient, you really find that your energy takes a different level, because you have eliminated the things that no longer serve you. You have included the things in your life that really boost your self-worth, your self-confidence, because you're pouring into your own cup of self-love. And it's not easy for women to do that. It really isn't. But when you take a look at that and you know that you have to constantly fill up your own cup, and when you need maybe to take a break from something, or when you need to push forward on something, you will know who and what aligns you with what is meant for you. And so when it comes to a client, I really ask them detailed questions in terms of, why do you feel coaching would be for you? Why do you feel that I would be a good fit for you? Are you coachable? And a lot of people think that they are coachable, but in the reality, they're not. So by getting down to some of it, it really makes them think a little bit. And it's not that I don't want to coach everyone. I want to make sure that I am the right coach for them, because I don't want to be doing anybody a disservice. And I'm not into coaching for taking people's money. I'm in for serving and from the heart, because I always say, do the heart work, not the hard work. Then when you do the heart work, you will find it may be a little bit difficult and it may be hard, but when you serve yourself first, your business can take off, because you are in alignment, not with only yourself, but the people who were meant to come into your life and do business with. And so that's exactly the way I attract the clients, and then I bring them in, and I also refer them out. Because if I were to accept a client that didn't serve my energy, I would only be doing a disservice to myself and my own energy, and I wouldn't have that much to give to them.
So when you meet that man or woman who you feel is just not coachable, what do you say?
Well, you'll be able to tell. I mean, I will ask them, why, I will get to the heart of it. And if they're really have an evasive answer and it's not really clear, I will get clarity on it. And the clarity that I will get will provoke a question in terms for them to allow to see how important it is to them. I mean, you really got to be hungry for it, and you got to know that it is the forefront of what you really want. And the passion's got to come out. If the passion isn't there, they might discover other things. They might have a passion for one thing, but when I get into coaching people, I really find that, there are other gifts that they do have that they couldn't see. And, that happened to me too. There's a lot of things still to this day I can't see, I'm too close up in it. And so I help them. I hold them by the hand and take them to where they want to be, pick them up when they fall, and I push them to greatness. But I do that with love, directly, but with love. And that's exactly the way I refer them too. I refer them out with love, because if there is someone else that can better serve their needs, I would much rather them be aligned with the right person than to constantly spin their wheels and waste their money, because I'm not about that.
When these men or women come to you looking for a coach, do you find that it's at their most desperate time? In other words, like they've tried everything and they're just like, I don't know what to do. And so they come to you with this, what I call a big bag of toxic bomb. And it's like they want to bring you this toxic bomb and drop it on your doorstep, and they want you to unravel it. Is that kind of where I know that happens with me? So I'm sharing a personal insight. But do you find that when people are looking for a coach, it's because they feel that they have done the work, they have exercised all the means to the ways, and nothing is working, and so therefore it's like, okay, well, I guess I need a coach? Or is it the opposite, that they know it, and so therefore, hey, Denise, I need you to coach me in da-da-da?
Well, that's a really, really good question. And I'm glad you asked that, because I've had both scenarios that you just mentioned. One particularly is the ones that already know that they need coaching. I need it. I want it. I got to have it, because they've already been successful in their life. And those are the ones that are really, I get excited about, for the mere fact that, you're already taking the initiative to ask for help, because that is one of the biggest problems, is to say, I need help, right? And when they're already at that point, knowing that they've had success in their life, they're wanting to take it a step further to level up, because they know what success is, but it's not enough because they haven't reached the fulfillment. Mm-hmm. They haven't reached the peace, the fulfillment, and everything that goes with success, because success is measured just differently for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. So there's two answers to your question. One is, I've experienced both. One is the people who come desperate and they're throwing their hands up because they think that they have tried it all. And at that point, it is like do or die for them. Mm-hmm. And when you're in the fight or flight, it really doesn't leave a lot of room to have an open mind, to be creative, to see what is outside your comfort zone that might serve you. And does that make sense? So what I'm saying is you're already in the panic mode where you got to have the answer. So in order for you to take a step back to see where it is, it's like, I don't have the patience for that. Like, I need an answer now. So in order to take them back so they don't repeat that behavior, you got to get to the core of it, because I'm not a coach that just puts a Band-Aid on the solution and they're off, because those are the ones that get frustrated at the end. And then all of a sudden it's like, this didn't work. And it's like, no, it's not that coaching didn't work. The result of your coaching comes from the effort that you put into it and what you're going to get out of it. But are you willing to listen? Mm-hmm. And it's such a good question, because I've had clients actually come to me in the sense that they were coachable and they were really excited and going, you know what? I'm at the point where I just know that it is in my best interest as an entrepreneur to always have a coach, because I always say that. I have a coach all the time. It's in your best interest to always be coached. Once you stop getting coached is when all of a sudden you take a step back and then you realize that you needed it.
Yeah.
Have the people come to me that have wanted the coaching and saying, nope, I know that I just never should be without a coach, and I'm not going to be without one. I'm coming to you now because I've reached the success, and they want to go through it. So typically you'll see that there is the drive there and they know what they need. They just need that accountability, the blueprint, the structure, and take them forward. And then once you do get to it and then you start making the levels, they're all in it. And then they revert to what you were just saying. They get to the fight or flight going, oh my God, I'm desperate. And then they want to back out. Then they're like, because all of a sudden the floodgates open and they feel like they're drinking from a fire hose and they can't take it anymore. And then they're like, I want out. I don't want coaching anymore. And it's like, no, this is when you need it the most. This is when you need it the most. So because there's so many paradigm shifts that happen within coaching that they don't realize. I try to prep them. They're going to come. Don't be looking for them, but they're going to come. And when they do, I'll say, here it is. I told you. Hang on, strap your boots on, because we're going to go really fast. And when it happens, this is when you're going to want to bail. And then I'm going to tell you, this is the time that you need to hang on tight. So I've had both. And it happens. It just does. It's the nature of the beast, and it's a good beast. I love it. When that happens, it's like, yes, let's get to this, because once we break through this, you won't have to wonder and have the anxiety anymore, because when it happens, you are going to have the skills to know what to do with it, to just plunge forward.
So when we're talking about, coaching, I mean, everyone does need a coach. It's like, my daughter wants to play soccer, but she doesn't know the fundamentals. So what do we give her? A soccer coach. We as women entrepreneurs, and men too, we need someone with an outside perspective, strategies, and also accountability, because sometimes we're our own worst accountability partner, when really in essence we shouldn't be. We actually should be our number one. But coaching is not, like you said, you slap on the Band-Aid. That's not what it is. It is doing the work. You are helping that client learn and understand the work that they need to do. And when you're investing in a coach, I think a lot of people have the misconception of, oh, I have a coach, so my coach is going to do it for me. But that's not true. What it is that you've done the work already, which is why you're a coach. And now you're going to teach them what they need to learn to be successful in life and business. And everybody has a different definition of success. But in reality, when you, number one, we all need a coach. We need a money coach. We need, if we're in business, we need a business coach. We need therapists. All of those things are real, true needs that each one of us needs to have, right? I call it the dream team. We have to build our dream team to be able to succeed, to be healthy, to be happy. So when you are coaching these clients, and I know that you do a very detailed program with them, what is one of your most favorite parts of coaching them?
When I see the breakthrough, when I ask them and they're like, oh, you asked me such hard questions. And I do, because it's something that they maybe never saw or they never considered. And they actually have to sit and ponder on it and actually have to think about it, because we're trained to be just robotic, like just function and go through it. And when you actually have to sit with it and think about it, it actually changes the perspective sometimes, and then also changes their thinking for the mere fact that they have to feel. And we numb ourselves out so much. I'm guilty of that. You know, I was fearlessly independent. I couldn't feel. I still every once in a while have to catch myself, because I am human, right? I still go through those kind of things. And all of a sudden, when you get really, really busy, it's so much easier to be the robot. I call it the Energizer Bunny that keeps going and going and going. And the analogy that I use with some of my clients is like me. I'm notorious for getting in my car and not looking at the gas tank, because I just think it's always going to be full until the light goes on and says, oh yeah, right, Energizer Bunny, you got to recharge, you got to refuel. And I put that analogy back in my life because I have a tendency to let that escape in my business too. And what it's telling me is that I'm not sitting with it long enough to feel, because if I were able to feel, I would be able to see some of the things that are forthcoming, or some of the things that I've worked through in the past that I could prevent by being able to stay within my boundaries. And when I keep my boundaries very crystal clear and honor myself, I can raise my standards. And when you raise your standards and don't let yourself cross your boundaries, your own personal life and wealth and worth, it will grow and it will expand, and so will your business, because those are the skills. How you do one thing as another as you're taking into your business life. So yes to all of that.
So, you know, you mentioned in the very beginning of the interview, you have written some books. You haven't written just one, you've written a few. And your first book was incredible. I've read it. And we've talked about your book a lot, you know, Inhale Abundance, Exhale Bullshit. You've written in a few other books, from, what is it, Unleash Her, Dream Big, Do Bigger, Women Disruptors. But what I want to ask you about has to do with women disruptors in business, because I consider you to be one. And the reason why I say that is because you're a very matter of fact, tell it like it is. And we as women are always, we operate in the emotional mode of things, the empathetic, sympathetic, we wear our hearts on our sleeve. And so when you combine a matter of fact woman disruptor in the mix of women who are not there, they can be introverts, they can be extraordinary introverts doing extraordinary business. But when you are a disruptor in life and business, I wanted you to describe what that means to you and a little bit about what you wrote, because I found it so profound and fascinating of what your woman disruptor, what it meant to you and why you shared it.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because what people need to know is, you know, everyone says there's two sides to a coin. Well, there's actually three: the top, the bottom, and the side. And I kind of feel that way about my own personal life in terms of my spiritual, my identity and my attitude, right? My future identity is where I strive to be, but my spiritual faith is really important, as I talked about in, I believe that one was Dream Big, Do Bigger, because I always give faith a fighting chance. And I learned that the hard way from growing up. I just plunged through things and I was just a bull in a china shop. And it was like, I could give someone, I'm just like a pistol at spit and vinegar, right? It was one of those things where she had this hard shell, but in the inside, you have to understand that I'm extroverted with being able to communicate and talk with people, but I'm very introverted when I'm in my home environment and when I have my quiet time. And that had a lot to do with my gift that I didn't really realize. I grew up thinking that I had ADHD, that I was kind of like flight here, flight there, and thinking about this and start this. And the next thing I was on to a next project. And it was just like, oh my God, she's making me dizzy. She's making me crazy. Oh, she's weird. And I would personalize all that, right? Thinking that, I was someone that was like crazy, didn't fit in. I had to like calm myself, or I had to watch my ways or watch my words. And, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that I offended, and you just finding out who you are is just such a key important piece of it, right? Well, hidden within that, I used all those things that I just described you to disqualify myself in life, to say that I wouldn't be able to succeed in business, that she was the last one that you would bet your odds on that would ever go anywhere or do anything, right? And what I learned through that in discovering my own inner truth and my gifts, that it can be really exciting and fun, because everything that I had disqualified myself for were actually the things that were qualifying me to speak about. For the mere fact that information is so free. You can Google anything on your phone. You can look up anything on the internet, but no one had the experience that I had. And I was tapping into all different areas of my life. And I would put my feelers out there. And I saw patterns of behavior of how long I would stay within a position or a goal. And it was usually 7, like the 7-year itch on a job. And then it was this. And then it was like, how can I do more? Or not even do more, but what else can I, learn about? Am I capable of, doing this? And how can I be a part of that? And so I just kind of like went through different things that might have been interest to me. And I found a common theme with it. All of them were serving and helping profession. So right then and there, I'm like, there's that hidden gift, and why I need to have my introvert side to get grounded. So I know that I'm filling my cup up so I can serve other people. And it was just amazing, because as that, went on in my life and I started seeing patterns, instead of looking at them as negative, I looked at them as, wow, this is a way to not only be able to grow and learn and expand, but offer it to other people where there is true value in it. That when I see them, learn and grow and expand, or else take that risk and just say, hey, leaders take fast action. This is what a disruptor does. They don't need to question anything, break all the freaking rules, just try it. And when you do, it breaks the barrier wall down, a feeling like you have to have a mask on, that you have to do things perfectly, that you're going to either win or you're going to learn. And also noticed through those experiences that I went through, some of them I fall flat on my face and I went, oh, yeah, shit, that didn't work. Okay, what did I learn from it, right? But I also learned on the same thing that 50% of your decisions should be at risk, high risk, like balls to the walls, crazy ass decisions, like where the hell did this concept come from? Go for it. Because it continuously breaks down your fears, your ideas of not fitting in, your risk tolerance, and it increases your self-worth. It really does. And you're like, I'm worthy to try this, because half you people aren't even willing to try it. So right then and there, it's like, I tried something that someone else didn't. And it's not that I'm one-upping you or I want to be competitive. There's no such thing as competition. It's only within yourself. But I chose to make a decision that could change the trajectory of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I was only one decision away from doing it, and it was so freaking worth it.
That's what makes you a disruptor. You know, people think the word disruptor is a negative word, but honestly, it's not. I think it should be viewed as a word or an action of we're making change, we're making waves, we're standing in where we were once afraid to even, put our shoe in. So
we're willing to question the norm.
Yeah. And you wrote another book called Dream Big, Do Bigger. And I just wanted you to share a little bit about that, some of the insight of what that means to you. Dream big, do bigger. What are some of the things that you have dreamt big about, but done even bigger?
That one really touched my heart. And I'm really excited to speak about that one in Miami for the mere fact that I chose the title based off of something that was near and dear to me. I went through several years of infertility. And after having 2 live births, I never found out what my children were because I didn't care at that point. I just wanted, a healthy child. And when I found out my last one was a girl, Leanne Mormack was just so dear to me. And I listened to that song every day, Give Faith a Fighting Chance. I get emotional speaking about it because it's just so personal to me. And so when I had this girl, I dedicated that song to her and I put it in her baby book. And if you listen to the words really in-depthly, it's about that dreaming. It's about standing on the edge of the cliff and dreaming and dreaming big and doing bigger. And it's got so much truth to it if you think about it, because it's not about what we're thinking. It's about what we're feeling, and our future identity with our vision is what's going to get us there. Because when we can be in the moment of feeling and dreaming that big, audacious goal, we can start to feel it and visualize it, and it becomes part of who we are. And it starts to be what we attract and how we speak and what we do. And our future identity is part of that because we place that vision out there. Because everything that we need or want in the world, we've already put out to the universe, right? It's only us blocking it. And if you dream big, you can do bigger for the mere fact that you've already put it out there. You're the only one stopping yourself. So get out of your own damn way. Step aside and let the dreams just go wild, because it is just such a magical feeling when that happens. And that's the way I felt when my daughter was born. After 5 miscarriages, 7 years of infertility, I didn't care what it was. I just thought I had a boy first, was going to have another one. And I said, just let it be what you want to give me, because we're dreaming big and we're just going to go balls to the walls. And whatever and whoever this child is, we're going to do big things. They're going to be so ahead of time. And it was. She came out as a girl. She told me at 7 she wanted to be a doctor. She graduated from high school early. She just graduated from college early. She's not on her way to med school. I mean, we're talking, we really define dream big, do bigger, because not only, well, the poor girl didn't have a goddamn chance. Her mom was a coach. That's the way I spoke, right? That's, that's my language. And the difference between where we are right now and the success that we want is only the story that we're telling ourselves. So dream big, do bigger, because you have a chance to rewrite that story and change the narrative.
So when we talk about dream big, do bigger, what is something that we can look forward to seeing from you here in the next 6 months?
One of the things that I'm really excited about is using people's idea of what they want in their business and bringing it inward to know that if you want to dream big, you don't have to do bigger things. You just have to be bigger in your dreaming, in your thinking, in your kindness, in your understanding, in your forgiveness, and in your love, because we are in a fear-based society. We are in a fear-based society, and love is really all you need.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Well, I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. We have talked about a lot of things. You have given some incredible insight. And for those of you who are just tuning in, Denise is a coach, author, speaker, full package, whole package. And I encourage you to listen to the entire episode. And Denise, where can people find you?
Go to my website at www.deniseoster.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, so you can find me, and you can find my book on Amazon. I have all the anthologies and my self-written book on my website, and you can order them there. I just came out with a workbook to accompany the book. And so there's so many wonderful skills and modalities that will really get you going. So take a look, check it out.
Well, thank you for being with me. And we definitely have some more episodes coming up with Denise, some more deep dive topics. So stay tuned for another episode with Denise Oster coming very soon. Thank you, Denise.
Thanks, Hanna. Thanks, everyone.